It all boils down to you need the light and the dark. You need both sides of the coin. Okay, enough of the euphemisms. You need alternative perspectives. You get the point. Here are 3 truths about cello playing you won't hear anywhere else. You need cold, hard, objective facts about your cello playing, exact instruction on executing cello stuff in this harsh, animalistic, gut-wrenching, never-ending pursuit because it's really hard, really stressful stuff. You need warm, open kindness that invites you into this wonderful, expressive, emotional journey that will fulfill you with a love you have never known elsewhere, and it will do it for the rest of your life. You have to have both of these. They are equals in their role in your cello journey. And if you don't have desire, deep down desire for doing this stuff, you won't get much out of either of these other 2 perspectives. Let's start with desire because not much else happens without first having the desire. I want all of you out there to know that it's totally normal to question this, to question whether or not you even have the desire. This is such a conundrum because you would think this would be pretty black and white, that you would know whether or not you have the desire to play the cello, but then you become aware, very aware, that this is not black and white, that you are unsure of whether you have the desire, and so it can be confusing, very confusing. The number 1 source of the confusion comes from the fact that playing cello is challenging. It's really freaking hard at times, and so we start the conversation in our heads, that little voice that says, how in the world can you desire something that is so ridiculously hard? And the split comes in, and we become very confused and unsure of what exactly it is we desire. It happens all the time. But this is just one side of the coin for desire, the personal side that comes from us, from me, the cellist and musician. The other conversation around desire comes to us as the outside observer, the teacher, the parent, the mentor. The mistake that I must confess is thinking that desire can be manufactured by me for someone else. If I just explain it differently, if I just do something better or teach it a different way, then someone else's desire will increase. It just isn't the case, and that's a good thing. Desire should be personal when it comes to being creative because it's one of the main engines for helping us create. I can remind someone of their desire, especially if they have stated clear goals to me. I can inspire someone to cling to their own desires. I can remind others that questioning desire is normal, just like I have done here in this video. And these are all valid, productive things I can do, but I can't create it for you. I can't manufacture it and put it in a bottle to give you. Believe me, I have tried. Now, the last thing I will say about desire is that it's circular, and this is especially something you never hear about when it comes to truths about cello playing. It's not a one and done. It's not even a 10 and done or 100 and done. It is a loop, a circle of life that you will question and move in and out of for the rest of your cello playing days. While you are moving in and out of this wonderful catalyst, you need 2 other additional things in your life. You need honesty and you need love. I am going to talk about honesty first because that is how it happened in my own journey. I had a whole lot of honesty that transformed my cello playing, and then I had a whole lot of love that transformed my cello playing in a different way. Not better, just different. They are so interconnected and dependent on one another that it would be impossible to say which one should come first. The answer, if you are lucky enough to have it, is that they would happen to you at the same time, or at least back to back, moving in and out over a course of time. But as you will see on the level I am talking about, that is a difficult situation to create. So don't feel bad if you, like me and like so many others, have to find it at different times in different places. I have spent a lot of time thinking about honesty, a lot. In the end, it's not so black and white, so be sure to stick around to the end of the video because there will be something very important I have to say about all this. So in all my reflection about this, I think about how I used to be angry that some of the adults in my life, not all, but some of them in my life as a kid, were not honest enough with me about cello. And then I think about how I was angry because my college professor was too honest with me. You could probably write an entire dissertation on that conundrum, so I won't get into the weeds with it here. Suffice to say, I am looking at it through a different lens now that I am a teacher myself and a parent. I am also more honest with myself about my lack of practice as a teenager. I was not responsible about my personal practice, and so a lot of this is on me if I'm being truly honest about myself with myself. I also understand now how difficult it is to be honest. Not everyone is made for it, and that's okay. I was free as a kid to make all my own choices, and that freedom taught me a lot of lessons. I am so grateful for all the people in my young life and everything they did for me, and I would never want to say or do anything to take away from that. Everything that I was involved with made me who I am, and so I am deeply appreciative. Which brings me to a big takeaway that it's important to recognize that not everyone can be so wonderfully candid with us all the time. And because of this, it's important to know when to move on as a student. We as musicians and artists have times in our life when we need this kind of raw honesty. If we need it and we're not getting it, well, don't feel bad about finding someone who can give that to you. And vice versa. If you feel like you have gotten all the truth you can stand, it may also be time to move on. Or maybe you feel like you have a good balance. Lucky you and lucky me. More on that at the end, as I mentioned. I would not be very sincere now if I didn't say that another lesson I take away from my childhood is that I had gotten very far behind where a lot of my pre-professional peers were. It's no one's fault, it's just the way it was. The way it was meant to be so that I would become who I am. I am grateful now of where I started in college. So you can imagine when I got there, I received a lot of candid feedback. That's putting it mildly. And I think now I am truly ready to be grateful for it. It was invaluable to me. It was tough. It was grueling at times. It was stressful, all those things. I even changed majors and thought so many times about quitting. It took 8 years in all to finish undergrad. I know, crazy. 7 years of that at my alma mater, the University of Alabama, with a couple of breaks in there, and 5.5 of those years as a music major in cello performance. In the end, it was what I needed. All of it was what I needed, especially the honesty, and it changed my life. I am so glad that I stuck it out and so grateful to my teacher. I hope this will inspire you and resonate with you somehow as we get into the next part, because I could not have ever in a million years predicted what happened next. Love. Immense, unconditional love. No strings attached love for what I was doing on the cello. I was so very fortunate to get connected to the Cathedral Church of the Advent 5 o'clock band in Birmingham, Alabama. It was just an amazing 12 years of playing great music, improvising, writing my own parts, being put on the spot, having to be exposed and out there and vulnerable. I mean, it was a band. I was the only cello. It was like playing chamber music. It brought out the musician in me. It gave me confidence, and it made me a better player in the way that chamber music makes you a better player. You know, the analogy of steel holds true here. There are all these raw materials that have been formed through chaos and grind and harsh conditions, and then you expose those raw materials to heat, to immense fire and pressure and beating, and out comes this incredible, strong, incredibly shiny thing. The thing that it was the most important contribution that it made to my life was that it was what I needed. It was the thing that needed to happen next. I wish that I could honestly stand here and tell you that it was more important than the other things that happened in my cello life, but it isn't. I feel a little guilty, well, a lot guilty for saying that, because these people are my family. I will treasure them always. They did something for me that no one else could, that no other situation could. But I would be a liar and a scam artist if I said it was the only thing a person needs. I wish it was the only thing we needed because it was amazing. And if you could skip to just that step and have that and be okay, I would wish that for everyone. But something deep down, something deeper than deep down tells me that ain't the case. That is not the way to salvation. What happened to me was salvation. It literally saved my life because I went into it pretty beaten and bruised. But it only saved my life because my life needed saving in the first place. Just chew on that for a minute because I think there's a lesson in there for all of us. You know, the other reason I would say that this period of honesty and this period of love are equals is that when you have that much love thrown at you and poured upon you, it's unnerving. It's hard to accept. It's every bit as hard to accept as the honesty. You're there and you can't believe that people would be so welcoming and open. And it's weird. And you think they are weird. And you want to go running out of there screaming. And at the end of the thing, whatever it was you were playing, you do go running and screaming out of there in your mind, and then you come back next week. That's how it is. So if you find yourself there, you might be saying the same things to yourself. You people are crazy. This is strange. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Then next week you're back and it's, hi, what song are we playing first? It's the single most bizarre thing you will ever be lucky enough to do because it just wrecks everything you know about being a musician and everything tumbles. And then it gets built back up again. It gets built back up again on top of this foundation. A foundation that is made of knowledge, of honesty, of desire, and of love. And you get put back together just a little bit better than you were before. And in my case, a lot better. You know, they say you shouldn't start naming people by name, individuals, because if you do, you're going to leave somebody out. And I hope I don't do that unintentionally, because as you know, when I was preparing this for you guys out there, thinking about this really important topic, you know, the truth is from my young life, from my childhood life, from my adult life, the last 25 years, there are a lot of people that have helped me that I am so super thankful for, and even going back to the very beginning. And so as I start to not be bitter and not be angry, and really appreciate who I turned out to be, there's lots of people. And so I hope that for all of you out there as well, there's my youth orchestra conductor, Yvonne Collins, who was, amazing person, amazing influence on me. And then countless church music directors and aunts and uncles, and of course my parents and my brother and sister, and everyone who is supportive of you when you're doing this thing that takes so much time and so much cost. And it really does take a village of people to raise up someone, especially in music. But since this channel is devoted to the cello, the one person that I want to tell you about, a truth about cello playing, and that was my very first teacher, Spencer Brewer. I owe this man everything, and not just because of having a love of cello, not just because of what I know about the cello, but because actually when I think really deeply about this and look back, he was both. We can be both for the other humans in our life. He was my first teacher, period. When I did the strings program, the pull-out program in the 6th grade, and he started me on the cello, and then later was my private cello teacher. We would sit in those lessons and he would point out these incredible details, and he would be on me, like, why are you not paying attention to those details? You need to practice this way, and you need to go through this and, do all of these things. And he was instilling that in me. And at the same time, the lesson would be over and I would go to pay him and he would say, no, keep that. He knew my family didn't have much money. He really wanted to teach me. I guess he saw something in me. And, at the end of it all, it was so painfully obvious that everything he did was out of pure love and joy for what was happening. And he did that so many times. So many times he just, no, keep the money. It's fine. Use it for something else. And then I would see him later on. And I've never forgotten the other side of it, which was the details, the cello stuff that he taught me. And, you know, getting to be in his class and at school also, and see what kind of teacher he was and how he just anyway, he is a walking truth. He is the truth about how we can be for other people. We can be honest, we can be candid, we can show love, we can show compassion. And I hope all of you out there are able to find that. I hope that you're lucky enough to experience both sides of this, either at the same time or close together or through some miracle like me over the course of 20 years. Yikes. And I hope, beyond hope, that you get what you need. Because it seems like that's something I said a lot just now. Everything I got was what I needed at the time. There you have it. A few truths and a bonus truth about cello playing. Thank you to everyone out there that helped me as a child, helped me grow up to be this musician and cellist that is here before you. And I hope everyone out there eventually grows into appreciating all of the facets that have happened to you on your own cello journey. See you in the next one.